welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Explorer of Horror channel. And this stream, honestly, I came up with this idea mainly because I unintentionally watched this trilogy this week, and it wasn't like I was motivated to. It wasn't. Oh, we got somebody here already. We got Ian from Strange Dog Comic Stuff. What's up, Ian? Like I said, this is just something that I was watching throughout the week. I had no plan to watch the whole trilogy. I think what it is that they're all so short, and it was so long since I've seen them, and I was just like, you know what? I've seen one, I've seen two, might as well go and watch three. And I did. And today I'm joined by a special guest, one of my best friends, Trenchy, the Soulless Trenchcoat. Welcome to the stream, man. Welcome, and thanks for being a part of the stream.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Like I said, I'm a little rusty, but I'm gonna do my best. I was just watching the first one before we got on. I got like 44 minutes into that.
Oh no, you're fine, man. Yeah, these are films that are just very fun, very entertaining, and I kind of wanted to ask real quick, how did you? Because did you start young when you was watching Ninja Turtles, or did you watch them later on? Because I grew up with a couple of the shows, as well as I watched the first movie as a kid. So did you grow up with Ninja Turtles, or did you get into it later?
I grew up with Ninja Turtles as a kid. We had all three movies. We had all three movies. I saw a little bit of the 80s show on VHS tape. I used to watch the early 2000s show when it would come on WB Kids or whatever it's called, the network. They would play that one all the time. And I watched I think I got a bootleg of TMNT when it came out, the CGI.
Oh yeah, I remember the McDonald's lineup for that. Movie. You know, it's crazy. I remember when I was a kid and that came out, and the McDonald's lineup. I had the whole lineup. I had the Donatello, the Michelangelo, the Raphael. I had them all. It was crazy.
I had the turtle van. I had the turtle van. That was really cool.
I had a turtle van. The big one. Did you have the giant, the big green one?
It was pretty big.
The one I had, it was like huge. Big.
You could open it up and shit, and like it comes out.
I think me and you had the same thing because it was a giant van, and it had I used to put my GI Joes in there, and I had a mission or something like that. It was pretty. Oh, it was pretty cool.
Dude. And the thing is, I had the Ninja Turtle, but they were a little stiff. But it was a weird one where you could open up its shell and take it out, and there's like a rubber turtle. Like there's like a turtle, like a regular turtle, and you can make it into a regular turtle and then turn it into the Ninja Turtle. It's like it's like a Transformer Ninja Turtle. Fucking the shit, man.
We got Sasha here. Great soundtrack to all. Well, at least the first two. The third one has some good songs too, but we'll get to the third one here in a while. But welcome, Sasha. Yeah, I grew up with Ninja Turtles as well, man. The first one I ever seen was part 3. Believe it or not, that was the one. That was the first ever like anything that I could remember. I don't have the tape anymore, but I remember that tape because it had a crack on it. Like it was kind of broken a little bit, but it still played. So I thought it was broken, but it still played. And it's a shame because I used to have all 3 of those movies on tape. And I wish I could show them. They were really cool. They had the old school commercials and the old school New Line stuff. It's always cool having the VHS taste because that's before they rebrand everything. Like now, if you buy New Line, it says like New Line, and then it might say Warner Bros. But like when you get the old stuff, that's New Line. So you're just seeing all of their movies that's coming out. You're seeing promotions for the soundtracks. And I remember one of them, I think, had a trailer for like Surf Ninjas, maybe. I think maybe, possibly. I can't remember. But I growing up, part 3 was the first one I watched. And even then, when I first seen it, I wasn't too big on part 3 as a kid. Watching the shows definitely helped me become a lot bigger fan of the Ninja Turtles. I watched the first cartoon I watched was the one where they were half turtle and half robot. They had like these robot parts and everything.
What the fuck was that?
I don't know. I can't remember. We got Colton here. What's up, Colt?
Hey,
They were
Sasha,
like
Colton, Ian.
half, excuse me, half robot and half turtle, and they had like
Jesus.
the same kind of animation style as the 2003 cartoon, but I can't remember.
Wait.
Oops, sorry, my
Well,
phone call.
I know there was they did a season. I don't remember the robot ship, but they did a season of the 2003 cartoon where they go into the future and it's called Flash Forward. Hey, Cara,
What's
they
up, Car?
which Flash Forward is underrated. It's amazing. People hate it for no reason. It's fun.
I love the 2003 cartoon. That was the first cartoon I watched. Then I had on tape. I found some
Mhm.
more tapes because I used to go to the thrift store a lot growing up.
Mhm.
And I found the first movie. I found the second movie. I found
Mhm.
tapes of the original series. And that's how I watched the Ninja Turtles. I watched all the
Yeah.
old series on tape. I watched the movies on tape. And I grew up
Mhm.
with these films and these shows. And I really loved the shows and everything. I really dug it. And there is kind of this rivalry between the Ninja Turtles and the Power Rangers. And I understand it
Yeah.
because growing up, I
Oh,
was always teased for being a Ninja Turtle fan.
have
But the Power Rangers fans would always be like, "Oh, that sucks," and they would bully me, and I'd be like, "Nah, man, Power Rangers sucks," and I still stand by that.
hey, I like both, but have you seen there was a Ninja Turtle show in live action which did the suits, and there was a girl
Uh
Ninja
huh.
Turtle,
The
and
next mutation.
they did
Yep.
a crossover with the Power Rangers. They
Mm-hmm.
did a crossover episode, and I think
The
they
guys
fought
who
a little
made
bit,
it
and then
made
they
that
teamed
show.
up.
They made the Power Rangers and that show. That's why it's kind of similar to it. Like it's got the same
Yeah.
vibe as Power Rangers, which I did see that show, and it was on a public broadcast like morning station that would play like morning cartoons, and it was playing like the old school Wizard of Oz
Mhm.
show and Mona the Vampire. And one of the shows they had on there was Next Mutation, and that's how I found that show. And I remember just sitting there, and I was just like so weirded out by the costumes and just I don't know. It was
Mhm.
just a really out there show. Yeah, it is pretty horrible. Wait, you said worse than the '80s?
I
The '80s cartoon's great, Kara.
I
What are you
don't know
talking
if
about?
awful.
What, Trench? Trenchy? Okay, I think Trenchy may have disconnected for a little bit. I'm gonna try. Oh, there he is. He's back. Trench?
I was just saying I like the '90s, or I like Next Generation for what it was.
I have to watch it again. That was one when I first seen it. That was a while ago, man. When I first seen that, um, and when I used to
Man, here's
go
the
to,
thing, unless you go too far with it, all right, because it's the Ninja Turtles, man. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like
I
I'm
don't
not
like
really
it.
gonna take that
I don't like
seriously.
it because it was too much like power. I don't like Power Rangers. I hate that style with Power Rangers where it feels like everybody like was having ADHD. Everyone, writing, camera, everything, and I was just like, it's like overwhelming, and like the camera's always like this way and like pushing in and zooming, and I'm just like, that was just too much. I like Ninja Turtles and how it's just the camera's like this and you're seeing them fight. You're not, hey, what are you doing? I don't know. I just don't. Even when I was a little kid, I was like, that's stupid. That's so stupid. I don't know. But all respect to the Power Rangers fans. It's just, there is a rivalry there because I was teased. Because just like I was teased with Yu-Gi-Oh, people were big Pokemon fans and they always teased me for liking
Well, what?
Yu-Gi-Oh.
They're both great. Can we all just get along?
Right, right, yeah. But
Plus, Digimon.
but growing up though, man, the first one, I guess we can just transition right into the first film, the first ever live
Mhm.
action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990. Technically, this was an independent film, which I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand because it was made by New Line. New Line was a big studio, so how that counts as an independent film, I don't know. But was for a while, it was the film that dethroned John Carpenter's Halloween. And a lot of people don't remember that. A lot of people forget that this movie was the film that outbeat Halloween. And then after this, I think Blair Witch Project beat this film. So it dominated for a while, it's a little bit. And for at the time, the Ninja Turtles were so big, they blew up so fast. I mean, late 80s, it was just
Mm-hmm.
a phenomenon. And they made everything.
Mm-hmm.
They went from comics to cartoons to just all the merch. I'm assuming all the Happy Meals and all the toys. And eventually it was inevitable it would lead to a movie. And do you have like any memories with this movie? Because I remember when I first seen this, and I got a lot of good memories of the first Ninja Turtles film. And do you think it still holds up? Do you think it's aged well?
Yeah. No, I still like it. I would watch this one and 2 and 3 a lot. Like we had all 3, and yeah. No, I think we're rewatching it. Like, dude, just I like the opening is fantastic. Like, just it really gives you this vibe. It's like you're in like this kind of like there's a silliness to it, but there's also like a serious tone. And then like I think it holds up. I think the suits hold up. I think the comedy holds. Like I was having a blast watching it, man. Like
Yeah.
the character arcs. There's actually, I love the Raphael stuff. How we really get into Raphael, who's my favorite turtle. Michelangelo's number 2, but yeah, no, I think. Yeah, I think it holds up, man, and I love the artwork for it too. Like the first one with the first one's the orange, right, and then you got the purple and the green.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those covers, man.
Yeah, they're very eye-catching.
Yeah, just very bright and colorful, which is what the Ninja Turtle. Because I like, yes, they get serious, but I like how these movies they also embrace the goofiness of it. Because Ninja Turtles is goofy, no matter
Yeah.
how many times we try to make it serious. And I like when they make goofy stuff serious, but I just say embrace the goofiness. Like why, like problem with superhero movies nowadays. Some of them, we don't want to put the costume on them. It's too goofy. It won't work. Just do it
There's
anyways.
this
Fuck
movement
it.
right now where a lot of people are wanting to make the Ninja Turtles, oh, make it rated R, make it to where it's dark. And I disagree with that. I disagree
Well,
because I feel like maybe you could make it a bit darker, but to go straight rated R with it, I don't think that's going to help anything. I mean, it's
I
curious, it's
mean,
interesting to think about, but
the original Turtles were kind of rated R though in the black and white comics,
yeah, they
and
were. But I feel like the good thing about these early films is that they were able to take a seriousness as well as, especially the first one. You can have your serious moments and your goofy stuff. And I think what people are talking about is maybe doing a little bit less of like the kid humor and going back to the PG-13 type stuff, which
right.
will probably not
Well,
happen,
are you familiar with The Last Ronin?
Yeah, that's where Raphael is going around as a rogue, ninja and killing people, right?
Well, it's like I think the rest of the turtles are dead, and he's like a samurai. I forget if it's Raphael. I know a little bit about it, not a lot. Kara would probably know more. She's more of the comic person, but I would say I do like the thing is I wouldn't mind a serious version, but I don't think we should like get rid of the goofiness. I think this shit like against silliness is kind of dumb because it's like why silliness is fun and that these concepts are silly. Like why are we
Yeah.
shying away from this?
That's why I don't think it'd be a good because every other superhero, every other property is doing it. And I think the cool thing about Ninja Turtles is that it still is staying very innocent and very much what it is. It's a silly, it's fun. It's meant to be fun, not 100% Like that's the thing I don't understand. Is like you take the Ninja Turtles, make them 100% serious. It's just not gonna work. It's the Ninja
Yeah.
Turtles. It's not meant to be 100% serious. In the comics they did make, they swayed away from that. And what happened? It got more popular as they got away from the violent stuff because I think it was able to find its identity more. It wasn't just a bunch of stone faced turtles going around and killing people and chopping heads off. It's like, no, it's really fun. They have their individual. You wouldn't have Michelangelo's personality without that. He'd be another serious killer. You know, it wouldn't. None of them would stand out, is what I'm saying. It'd be like just a bunch of generic killers. They'd just
I
be
mean,
turtles.
Raphael would still. The thing is, it took them a while. It took them to like the '90s movie to get Raphael's personality, because in the '80s cartoon, Raphael's more of like a narcissist. He's kind of just like full of himself and shit, and he's more, you know. But I like how in the '90s cartoon they made him more of the hothead with the anger issues, the loner, you know, kind of, you know, like I don't like asking for help. I like to do things on my own type of character, just very angsty.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that Raphael better. Gives him more of a personality.
They were all kind of goofy in the cartoon. They were all just real goofy versions of themselves. Like and that's my problem with this movie. The one thing that bothers me about this film particularly, and the third one too, is that Donatello doesn't really have his identity in this and the third one. He's got a little bit of it in the third one where he's, you know, maybe he's doing a little bit of science stuff, but in this one, he's pretty much another Michelangelo. Him and Michelangelo are just the prankster guys. And I'm like, I don't know. I like the fact that, like, to me, Donatello, what makes him cooler and different is that he's not like Michelangelo. That's why, like, every turtle is different, and that's why it's unique, because they're all different personalities. But like Corey Feldman too, I like Corey Feldman as an actor, but you know, I don't think he does a great job. I don't know. I never dug him as Donatello. I think his voice is a bit off. I like the guy in the second movie a lot more. So
that's fair.
I'll give the point to the second movie when we get to that too, because I think the second movie it doesn't do all wrong. We'll get to the second one because that's an underrated one. But the first one, it was a big hit when it came out. It was a big movement, and I think there's a lot of great things to this first movie. Now, granted, there are some people that say it's perfect. Unfortunately, there are some problems with it. I will say it does have some things, particularly the Danny stuff. Feels like, I don't know, it doesn't even need to. It's weird because, like, it's the Transformers problem where everything is good, but when it comes to the human people, usually it's like, then stuff start, because with Danny, it's Danny's story is he's ran away from his dad and he joined the Foot Clan, and it's all about his sympathy for Dan. I'm like, dude, I'm just letting you know, nobody is here for Danny. We're here to see these other characters, you know. And his acting's horrible. Yeah, I don't know. I think his acting's pretty bad too. He's just like,
I mean,
yeah, Dad,
it gave us that good moment with Splinter. It gave us that good moment with Splinter where Splinter was like, you know, if I have an ear, I'll listen. You know, it shows the kindness of Splinter. Splinter didn't see this, like, you know, he didn't see a punk, or like he saw more than, because his father keeps writing him off and being like, why are you doing this and stuff, but not like actually taking the time, you know, like he's very frustrated. And then like Splinter actually, you know, he doesn't see an enemy. He doesn't see a punk kid. He sees a lost kid. I think it reminds him of his sons. It reminds him of the Turtles, because, you know, the Turtles are kind of like Danny. They're not stealing shit, but they're very brash. They don't really think. And, you know, Raphael has angst, and he's always off on his own trying to find the answers, lashing out, you know, and I thought that was a good scene. I get it. The Danny stuff is a little random, but I didn't mind it too much. I didn't mind it. And they worked it into the plot. He's the one that finds out, you know, the Turtles are at the place so they can attack April O'Neil's apartment. Like
Yeah.
it works for me. I don't mind it. It doesn't bring down the film.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't bother me that much as a kid, but rewatching it recently and as I've gotten older and it just feels like they kind of put that in there. I don't even know why they put it. I don't because like it just I don't know. The
I
Danny stuff
think
is debatable.
they wanted, even though we already know this, they want to remind us that the Foot Clan is using kids. Like these are just, kids that are being manipulated through
Yeah.
like, you get to be. Your family doesn't actually love you. Come here. You can play arcade games and you can smoke and drink soda and do whatever you want, and you'll be part of a loyal family. And all you gotta do is steal for us.
Yeah, it's they're just like trying to push that message in there like see Danny is just another kid and
I'm
he's
just a
trying to be
kid,
innocent too. It's like nobody cares. Who the fuck
and
is
my
Danny?
life is a
And they
nightmare.
didn't bro, I like Kato more than the second one. Kato people trash
Dude,
Kato.
Kato's
Kato's
fucking
way better than
awesome.
Danny. Kato's
Kato's
way better than
great.
Danny. His
Isn't Kato in
acting's
the third
better.
one as well?
No, the thing is, they forgot about Danny and they forgot about Kato, which I understand Danny, but like Kato, I'm like, y'all could have at least brung him back and done something. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's like the one of the only things that really sticks out to me. I can't really think of much else other than there's a part where it does slow way down randomly, where the turtles have to help back Raph. And I understand it's just to get more character moments and stuff. But it kind of, I noticed that it kind of slowed down and everything. And that was definitely something that I noticed. I was like, okay, it's going, stop. They're back in town. It's just like, oh, okay. But it does lead to a good character moments where they're out at April O'Neil's. I don't know if it's her dad's house or whatever, some property they own, and they're training. And that basically the arc is to get the turtles to work together and to, together they're stronger, basically, is what they're trying to say. And the only weird thing about that, we lost Trench, but I'm pretty sure he'll be back here in a second. But the only weird thing about that arc is they don't really finish it. It's like at the end of the movie, they get together, they fight Shredder, they still can't beat Shredder. And I was like, okay, maybe in the second movie they'll beat Shredder. And they don't. So it's like it never works. But yeah, I recommend watching the second one at least. The third one I check out as well, but the third one's not as good as the other two. But yeah, I mean, for this film though, I mean, when it came out, early 90's, a lot of these films that were kind of more kids films in a way were getting a lot of controversy because they were quote unquote too dark. This Batman Returns were getting a lot of hate from the critics and not from the critics, but from the parents. And a lot of parents were saying how these movies are too dark, it's too graphic, they're just too brutal. We can't be having the turtles using their weapons on people. And so the second one, that's why, like, after this, the second one is so drastically different, and Batman Forever is so different from Returns because they got a lot of pressure from parents to switch it up and to have a more lighter tone with these films.
Not bad,
So,
I'm back.
oh no, you're fine. I was just talking about how the first movie kind of had a little bit of controversy when it came out, and people were saying how it was just too dark. It was just turtles were using their weapons too much. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it was too dark?
No, there was nothing about it that was horrifying or scary. And here's the thing. It's like, yes, they were using swords and scythes and whatever, but did they ever slice somebody open with that? No. Did anybody ever bleed? No. Maybe Splinter a little bit at the end. I know the ending was pretty like dark in a way, like with Splinter stuff, but it's like it wasn't. It wasn't. I don't get what the fuck they're talking about, And it's like, oh, kids are gonna use weapons. Kids are gonna do that shit anyways. You just gotta talk to them and be like, hey, maybe don't hit your friend with that wooden plank. That's gonna hurt them. Like, maybe have a conversation instead of blaming, oh, the movies are affecting my kids. No, they're not. Kids are gonna blow off some layers, one way or another. And I'm not saying every kid. I know, Sasha, you're pacifist and stuff. So I know I'm not saying every kid. I'm just saying a lot of kids will. Because I know Sasha's gonna be like, "Well, I didn't do that as a kid." It's like, I know you didn't, but like, I'm just saying in general, like, a lot of kids are gonna do that stuff.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's always interesting hearing that because I don't think it's too dark. I seen it at a pretty young age, and I never really thought it was dark. The only scene that I thought was like, oh shit, they actually showed that was like kids smoking cigarettes and drinking beer sometimes too. Like not even soda. Sometimes they're drinking beer and shit. And I'm like, whoa, they just showed that? What the fuck?
Well,
but it was only because you're not.
guess what?
I was a kid. I wasn't used to seeing like that. You know, I didn't see like.
Pinocchio did the same thing.
Yeah, Pinocchio did that. A lot of films have done that.
Dumbo got drunk as fuck. Dumbo got drunk and hallucinated. Yes, Sasha, I know you as a kid, you were like attacking children with samurai swords and like you were.
I am Leonardo. I swear he just would keep that same voice even when he's a kid. He's like
Sasha.
Mom, can I go watch the new Ninja Turtles film?
Sasha's over here with a gun.
I meant Hero Turtles.
Do you feel lucky? Punk.
Oh man.
Now give me.
And speaking of Casey Jones, Cara brought up a point here. Casey Jones not being the second movie, I feel like really sticks out. And Casey Jones is like one of my favorite parts of the first movie. I mean, I think Elias Kokias, I think is his name, the actor. I think he does a really good job at playing Casey. He's my favorite Casey Jones. Like the other Casey Jones, I've seen like some of the animated shows, and he seems more emo than anything. But I like how this Casey Jones is more of like the overgrown kid who's kind of like, he's a dude, but he's just out trying to have fun, you know, the adventure, the fight, the thrill, using the hockey stick and we got cricket, you know. You got to know what a crumpet is, understand cricket. I'll teach you. I like how they use the mask. You get a little bit of that classic hockey mask for Casey Jones. I like this adaptation of Casey Jones. He's one of my favorite parts of the first movie.
And I like how his friendship develops with Raphael, because that was a big thing. Casey was brought in for Raph. Like, him and Raph are like friends because they're like similar. Like, they're both very much fighters. They both they look for a fight. The other turtles don't really look for fights, but Raphael does, and he finds that kinship in Casey. He's like, oh, we both like a good fight. And I like that first standoff where there's kind of like a respectful dissing going on between them, because they're both dissing, but they're both like, they're not, there's like seems to be this odd thing of respect. And like when Casey sees them later, he comes back to help. Like there's this like odd respect between them, even though they're dissing the fuck out of each other and throwing them in the trash cans, calling each other freaks. Like there's an odd respect.
As a kid, I always felt so bad for Raphael, because there is a part of him, his character, where he's the outsider. He prefer to be alone. He has this temper, this anger, doesn't know how to control it. And as a kid, I always related to that because I'm always a loner too. And I had a little bit of anger issues. And I feel like a lot of people connected with that character because of just how different he was, as he wasn't like the other turtles where they're all joking and hey, what's going on? He's just like watching movies by himself. He's out minding his own business. He wants to stay out of the sewers. He wants to live a normal life. And it's just like he can't do it. And I feel like that's why he's definitely one of the stronger characters out of the turtles, because you do have a little bit of that sympathetic part of his character where you just feel bad for him. It's like he can never fit in. you know.
Well, Raphael's a very big part of the first movie. Like he is very much like if there was a main character turtle in the first movie, it's definitely Raphael because we get to see, his struggles, like his solo talks with Splinter. Like everybody else, they're more in a collective together. Like you never really see the other turtles apart. But Raphael, there's a lot of scenes of him alone, going to watch fucking critters and being like, where did they come up with this stuff?
Where do they come up with this stuff?
Like fucking.
And for the comedy, man, I think the comedy is real funny in this movie. I think a lot of the jokes land. I love where he jumps across the car. They're like, "Oh, that's just a giant turtle. Ooh, like a giant turtle." They're just all calm about
it. Where are you going again?
Or there's a part where they call Casey Jones claustrophobic, and he's like, "What'd you say to me? I never even looked at the guy before." It's like, and if people are wondering, it's like a gay joke. They're pretty much saying you're gay or something. You're homophobic. He's like, I never even looked at the other guy. It's like, what the fuck is that joke doing in this movie? There is some sly. You got to catch it. There's some jokes in there where it's like,
But I like the joke with the pizza guy where he's like, I need a new route. He's just talking to these people in the stores. And he's like,
yeah,
he's more worried about his fucking extra $2-3 than he is that some green thing in the stores just gave me money and took pizza.
Yeah.
Like he's more upset he got ripped off a little bit.
Yeah, good stuff, man. I like the part where Casey Jones, he's like mocking the guy. He's like, little fix your problems right up, pal. And the guy's like, I forgot his name, but the really great side villain, kind of the guy that's underneath of the Shredder. And I love the Shredder in this movie. This is my favorite version of the Shredder. It's way better than that awful. Have you seen the remake? That Shredder's awful. It's terrible. It's another Transformers Silver Samurai type thing.
We'll get into a giant mech suit. And here's
it's
Turtles
awful
remake, man.
There's so much bad in that. There's so much doesn't work.
And it sucks because there's potential. There were some good scenes.
I don't
like that where they're in the elevator and they're doing the turtle thing. I'm like, okay, this feels like Ninja Turtles. But then we go back to Michael Bay bullshit. And it's just, it sucks because I do feel like there was at least a little bit of potential, but of course Michael Bay had to get his greasy paws on it and wipe it out.
Yeah, man, it's a shame because that movie, that movie sucks.
I do think Cara made a good point earlier about Batman. Batman was way dark, and even though I think they did throw a little bit too much of a fit, they had kids lying about that shit. They had kids going on talk shows and lying and saying that Terminator 2 was less violent than Batman Returns. And I don't think they threw, they was stupid. It was stupid, but
they're like invincible. The bullets bounce off of them. They can punch fucking storage units across the fucking ground. It's just like, oh my god! Don't understand
to Batman Returns, Ninja Turtles is a walk. There's nothing really bad about this movie. I don't. What is horrifying children? The turtles? Because they might be a little weird looking at first, but once you get to
I highly doubt it's the kids who are over here like, oh my god, I'm so scared. It's the parents watching the movie with them. They're like, oh my god, that turtle used one of his scythes. How dare him do that?
But the thing is, they're never really slicing. They're hitting them with the scythe, but they're hitting them with the swords, but they're never slicing. They're blunt. They're used as blunt objects. I am rewatching the movie, so maybe there is a part where they slice, but there's never really a moment through this, that I remember where they slice into somebody. Maybe Shredder at the end with Splinter, because I'm pretty sure he falls off the roof. But like, there's nothing really that horrific.
Yeah, I don't remember there being any cuts in the movie, like anybody getting slashed or an arm getting cut off or anything like that. Nothing bad.
They just hit each other.
What are your thoughts on the suits? As I think that the suits look pretty good for the time. I know a lot of people make fun of them and everything now, but I love the look of the suits. I'm a guy that can appreciate old school like costumes and just even the way the apes look in Planet of the Apes. I appreciate that because of the time period that was made. I mean, it was just harder to do that, and I feel like at this time to do a full costume and a head that can talk and everything, I think it's pretty good. The costumes they could be done a bit better, but they're good.
I like it. I like
Mhm.
the suits. I think the suits are well done for what they are. They're of that time, especially Splinter. Splinter looks pretty good in this first movie. Not to the one we get in part 3, but like that this Splinter's good. I never had a problem with the suits, and I'm gonna go out here and say this. Yes, the Turtles of Michael Bay Part 2 looked better than the ones in the first one. But I will take these suits any day over that shit, man. They're too big at times. They're too odd looking in the Michael Bay ones. Like like too detailed. Because here's my thing. I don't think we really want the Ninja Turtles looking too real. They should they should look goofy. They should look a little silly. They should look a little unreal. Exactly, Sasha. These are actually real turtles running around. But
Yep.
I, I don't think anybody wants like photorealistic, turtle people like for the Ninja Turtles, because I don't know, like the suits, yeah, they look a little goofy, but they're supposed to. Ninja Turtles, you can have them do serious shit. Like I will say, I'm down for people like Kara who want like more serious turtles to have them do the serious thing. That's fine, but I'd be cool to have that too, have that option. But I just say always don't make them look too, always keep them a little silly because I think when you make them too real, it's just too jarring, and I think that was one of the problems with the Michael Bay movies.
Hmm.
Is they try to make them look too real, and they ended up looking like fucking aliens,
Yeah,
and just giant fucking aliens. And why were they
they
that
looked
big?
horrible, man. They looked terrible. But yeah, I mean, pretty much. Do you have anything else to add in the first one? I mean, I think it's a classic. I think it's well made. It was a film that really showed that you could take something that was very popular
Mm-hmm.
from comics and animated cartoons and make a successful movie out of it. I think there's other examples of that, like Mortal Kombat and Spawn, things that started out in other mediums and became successful movies. Well,
Did you just really say
successful.
Spawn?
Well, didn't Spawn have? Okay, I'm talking about the Spawn animated movies. Now,
Yeah,
I know there's a live
Spawn had
action.
also card. Yeah, I was about to say, what the hell? Like, I kind of
Spawn's
like
live
those. We
action
might read
movie. I
this.
forgot they made a live action and it was horrible, but they did.
Yeah,
I'm talking about Spawn going from comic book to the animated movies type stuff,
yeah.
which I think was
No,
just
it
a
was good.
show. But yeah, there's been examples though of things going from comic book or cartoon to actual film or video games to film and becoming successful. And I feel like this first Turtles film is a good example of that. I think it's very well made. It still stands up. I still think it's a fun time. Still really
And
enjoy it, man.
it has a good tone between serious and silly. And I will say, plot's very simple. Plot's very simple. They didn't try to do too much for this first movie. They're just like Shredder and the Foot Clan are using kids to steal stuff. The Turtles are here. They run into April O'Neil. They all team up, which I think April O'Neil was pretty good in this movie. I know people are mad. She didn't wear the jumpsuit. She's wearing a raincoat. It's like I don't care. I think the actors did a good job. I
Yeah, I like
think
April O'Neil as well.
I think like she kept that like spirit of April O'Neil. Like, could she been a little bit more proactive? Yes, but you know, the older April O'Neil was a damsel a lot of times. I think she did shit too, but she was a damsel. And this
This
one was a
April had a lot of
damsel.
confidence. I like how she had a lot
Yeah,
of confidence. She stuck up for herself. Didn't care if she was gonna lose her job. She's gonna do the right thing, and like that's all
yeah.
she cared about. And so I liked that. I liked how she questioned the Foot Clan. She has a lot more to do in this movie than people think she does. Because a lot of people think she's just forgotten about. When in
No,
reality, April in this first film is trying to investigate the Foot Clan as the only person that's doing it. And without her, the
the
turtles
turtles would
wouldn't
never.
get anywhere. Yeah.
Because the
So
turtles would have just stayed underground. The reason, because the thing is, yeah, Raphael would have adventured up a couple times, but she really brings them on the journey. Like, the only reason, like, yeah, they jump up and save her, but they weren't gonna, like, keep doing that. They just, you know, they just saw something bad happening, and they said, we're gonna stop it. But then the reason why Raphael goes back is his sai was missing, and she had his sai, so that's why he investigates her, and it brings it all full circle. Like, she's really a focal point of this movie. And hell, they're waiting on her to give them clues. They're just waiting in her apartment for clues from her. Like, that's a part of the movie. That's why Raphael goes out, because he's like, fuck this shit.
yeah.
You guys
Yeah,
are
man.
laying around. I'm
I
gonna
think
fucking kick the air.
I think overall this first movie still holds up. I still really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I guess we can just go ahead and move on to the next film. This is the sequel, part deux, and this is, I think, the very next year or the year after, like 2 years or 1 year after the first. Very fast production. And this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret
Mhm.
of the Ooze. Now,
Mhm.
this film, like I said, once again, I found it on tape, watched it right after the first one, and watching it again still holds up. Really, really solid
Yeah.
sequel. I really think it does a great job at trying its best to be as good as the first one. I think in a lot of ways it is. There's some things that I wish was different, mainly the ending. I hate the Super Shredder stuff. The Vanilla Ice stuff is like, what the fuck?
Hey, leave the Vanilla Ice stuff alone. That's the
The
only
song's
good thing he had
awesome.
in his career.
I also think that without Casey Jones in this movie, that is
Mhm.
a glaring issue where I was like, really? You didn't bring back Casey Jones? What the hell?
He
But
was one of my favorite characters. Like, I love Casey Jones from all the stuff. I always like him and see what they do with him.
yeah. I feel
And,
like without him in this movie, it was noticeable, very
and you
noticeable.
could have like done more with him and April's romance. Like, you could have because I do think they have good chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they could have done. But the kid, what's his name? I do remember
Kato.
enjoying the kid a lot. Yeah, Kato, man, Kato was awesome.
Yeah. I think Kato's a great new addition to the cast. That one of the very few new human characters in this movie that are interesting and well done. I think Kato's definitely the best of the new characters. And I like how he's just, he's this pizza delivery guy. He's delivering this pizza, and these guys are robbing this place, and he just goes, I'm a pizza delivery guy. And they start fighting. He's like, did I also mention I practice martial arts? And he's just like, it's a fun opening where they're going around, the turtles come down and they're fighting and they're helping him out. Raph is like, stay out of this, kid. And they're fighting people. It's a lot more slapsticky in this one, which doesn't really bother me, but it is noticeable. It's a lot more kid-friendly, goofy
Well,
jokes, just
they
real
took
over-the-top goofy,
they took away the weapons and they had
They
them
can't use
fight
their
with food.
weapons. Yeah.
Which I don't know. I love that. This is actually my favorite off of memory. I gotta rewatch it, but whenever what I remember. This is my favorite because I like how silly it is. I like how they're like using food.
Me too.
Don't they use cheese at one point?
They
I'm
use
pretty sure.
cheese, sausage links. One of them pretends to be
Yes.
like a inflatable clown thing, and it like starts fighting the guy and
He
stuff.
uses like cheese and he makes a joke about it, and it's like it's such a cheesy joke. Like it's a no
Get it?
pun intended, but like there's such cheesy jokes with these food jokes, but they work these food puns.
Yeah, and I think a lot of things are just improved upon in this movie. Like the suits look even better in this film. They have more detail. Yes. I think this was Stan Winston that did the suits, and
I think so.
Unfortunately, I think this was his last film that he worked on with anything. I think this is his last film, and I think the suits are the best looking live action suits we've seen is in this movie.
Didn't Stan Winston do Wrong Turn, or was that another guy?
Maybe so. I could have sworn it was Stan Winston that did the suits for these movies, but I'd have to check again. But it did say like in memory of. I think it said memory of Stan Winston.
Yeah,
but...
pretty. Oh, maybe it was some other guy that did Wrong Turn.
Yeah, Stan Winston still. Well, he passed away in 2008. So who worked on the suits for these movies? Sorry about that. I don't know why.
Maybe they added it afterwards. You know, maybe they added that afterwards. But I don't know. I think I do remember seeing that as a kid as well.
Yeah. I just can't remember who worked on the suits. Because I always get them mixed up. It's Stan Winston, but there's another guy I always confuse for Stan Winston. Like it's always happening. But anyways, in this film, I feel like a lot of the atmosphere and the way it's filmed and directed, I love the way the set design looks. I love the way that it's filmed. It's a much more brighter, more colorful film. Splinter looks even better in this film. He's much more better articulated. The suit, the costume, well, the puppetry, everything was just well done. Mm-hmm. The effects are very well done. I think that it has another great soundtrack. It's just a blast. It's very, very fast. This movie is like an hour and 21 minutes with credits. So it's just you watch it, you start, before you know it, it's over. It's a very fast film. Pacing's definitely not an issue. You got the Shredder coming back in this movie, which is a pretty cool idea. You have the return of the Shredder. Them hinting at the secret of the ooze, which is weird because it's almost like they hint at, well, there is a backstory here, but we can't tell it yet. Maybe in the sequel. And it's like, why the fuck would you do that? You called this the secret of the ooze. Don't call it secret of the ooze and be like, we're going to hint at it and be like, well, we got to worry about the Shredder first. We'll worry about the backstory later. It's like, no, this movie is supposed to be about the secret of the ooze. So I never got that. The scientist guy who's supposed to be this making
Baxter
the formula. Yeah. I don't know. He's okay. Tokar Razor, I think, are pretty good. I know a lot of people were pissed off about Bebop and Rocksteady not being in the movie. I don't really care. It doesn't really bother me. I think overall, all around, it's a good film. I think the only problems is the ending. I think the ending is really bad because it ends out of nowhere, and the way it does end, the Turtles don't do squat. I mean, they're just beating up some Foot Clan members. Vanilla Ice is helping them out. It's just like they defeat Tokar Razor real quick, and then the Super Shredder just kind of kills himself. And it's like that's how it ends. It's just like, whoa, what the fuck? There's no challenge or anything like that. So it's just kind of a weird sort of like, and it's over. And I'm just like, oh, okay, I guess it is over. Yay.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair criticism.
It's just it ends really fast. I feel like they could have added a bit more. It's almost like they ran out of like either money or they ran out of time, and they were just like, just have it to where the Super Shredder just knocks this thing down and it kills them. And I'm like, what? But part two, man, what's your thoughts on part two? Did you grow up with this one as well? What are your thoughts on the second film?
Yeah, like I said, I grew up with all three, and part two from memory is my favorite. I don't know so far though. I'm rewatching part one, and I was like really getting into it. So maybe my taste has changed, but I for the longest time I love part two. It has its problems, but I really like Tokar and Razor. I wish they would have brought them into the cartoons. I don't know if they did, but like they should, because they're those. You know, I like Bebop and Rocksteady, of course, but like Tokar and Razor, I like the fact that they're humanoid, but they're more animalistic and they're like babies. So that adds an interesting factor into it. That the Ninja Turtles, yeah, they're like, you know, they're teenagers, they're kids themselves, but they're literally fighting like dangerous, deadly babies, which is
Yeah,
awesome. Like I really like that, and you know, they could have wrote in like maybe we don't want to hurt them because they're children or something, and I don't know. Like they could have done a little more with that, but I like Tokar and Razor. I like the design of them. I thought they looked really cool.
yeah.
I like the fight with them. I like their fights. Um,
A lot of good
it,
stunt work where these
yeah,
guys are being thrown in the costumes across the fucking room and landing. And I
yeah.
was just like, okay, that's pretty good stunt work. A lot more stunts in this movie. I will say you see a lot more. The suits seem a lot more articulate. There's a lot more stunts going on. There's a lot more fight
Mhm.
scenes. You could tell they definitely worked out the kinks in the first suits. And I found
Like,
out it's Jim Henson, not Stan Winston. It's Jim Henson.
oh
He helped
shit,
make the suits for the first one, and I think he helped make the suits for the second one as well. But he passed away. There's a little message at the beginning of the second movie that says "Rest in peace, Jim Henson." So
yeah,
Stan
man.
Winston, Jim Henson. I always get them mixed up for some reason. My bad. But
Yeah, man. Jim Henson, rest in peace, man. One of the
a
best
legend.
puppeteer, animatronic person. You know, He's Jim motherfucking Henson, man. You know. But like, yeah, I really love this movie. I think because it has more of a fun spirit to it, and I like that. I like them beating up the bad guys to Vanilla Ice song, which is the only good song in his career. I don't care. Ice Ice Baby's overrated. This is his only good song, you know. And this is one of his only good films besides Cool as Ice. Go check out Cool as Ice. That will teach you how cool Vanilla Ice is. He sneaks into a woman's house and puts icicles in her mouth while she's sleeping, and then she wakes up and realizes she's in love with him.
That's a movie.
Yeah, you gotta watch Cool as Ice, man. So, like, sorry, detour real quick. So, Vanilla Ice gets stranded with his crew, with his so called crew, in the middle of, like, a country town. And, like, this woman's riding a horse and he almost accidentally kills her on his motorbike or something, and then like he starts like following her even though she wants nothing to do with him, and his dad is kind of targeted by the mafia, and I think it's because of Vanilla Ice, and Vanilla Ice saves her dad, and then she's like, oh, I love you now.
Oh my god. What the hell? Yeah, I didn't see that one. I heard about it though. I've heard he made a movie.
Yes, Cool as Ice.
Good thing I didn't see that one, man.
But yeah, no, I love that scene. I'm sorry, but we're gonna stop talking about Vanilla Ice now. I love that scene.
No.
Go Ninja, go!
It's a good song.
I like
I love
Super
the song,
Shredder.
but I hate the scene.
I like.
I love
scene.
that song though. It's pretty fun. Kevin Nash, man, playing Super Shredder. Did you know that?
Yeah. Like I thought that was a cool part. They go under the pier, and he's under the pier, and he's like really big. And the Ninja Turtles are scared. Like they're actually like shaking a little bit. They're like, what are we gonna do? And it's like it really fucks with you as a kid. I'm like, oh no. Are the turtles gonna die? They're scared. They're actually scared. I'm scared for them. And then Shredder like hits the top of the pier, and the pier
He
starts
just kills
falling down.
himself. You fucking
And-
idiot.
And the turtles are like, "Oh, I guess we're good.
He's
Let's
a
go
fucking
to pizza,
idiot.
guys."
Yeah, man, it's really weird. Very weird ending. It's like they was like, all right, it looks cool enough. Just we are running out of money here, guys. We gotta stop this. New Line, that's the thing I don't understand. New Line always cheaped out on the sequels, and it's like, dude, I don't get it. Your movies make more and more money every time you make them. Like Nightmare on Elm Street, big hit, but yet they kept cheaping out. And it's like, dude, why are you cheaping out? Put your money in there. It's like Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat was a fucking huge hit. And then Mortal Kombat Annihilation, let's just put a little bit in there, rush it, and get it out there. That's why that movie looks awful. It looks, dude, that movie's not done. It's not complete. You can tell.
Terribly written, like Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Fuck that movie.
Dude, I laugh at it, but that is not a film that I can be like, oh, it's so bad, it's good. I'm like, no, it's like an insult to Mortal Kombat fans type of bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, man, I mean, what are your overall thoughts on part 2? I mean, do you think it stands up to the first one? Do you think it's a step down? Do you appreciate the more light tone to it? Is it better or worse?
I appreciate the serious tone of the first one, and maybe now I would like the first one a little more, but for as long as I remember, the second one has been my favorite, and still is, till it's been contested. And I really like this one. Like you said, Kato. Kato was awesome. Like, I like, he was dope. It was fun. It was fun seeing him. He reminded me of Rufio from Hook a little bit. Like, I don't know why. Maybe I shouldn't be making that comparison, but like it just.
April O'Neil was recasted, but I didn't think she did a bad job. I thought she did a pretty good job.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Who plays her in this one?
I don't remember the actress's name, but I do know she was recast. But I didn't think the girl did a bad job. I think she was recast again, the third one.
Yeah, it just keeps getting down and down and down.
They did not believe in any of them. They're just like, all right, just get another one. just recast again. They won't notice.
That one was passable.
The second one even did a good job. They're not bad. So you're over here recasting good actresses. It's just like, I don't get it.
Well, they're sitting there. It's like, okay, I got my money. I want out. It's like, please come back. You were really good, April O'Neil. It's like, no. I got my money. I'm out. Okay, we'll get another one. Oh, she's not bad. We're doing good. Oh, I got my money. I want out. Not again.
We need someone to stay. Damn it. And they recast Raphael's voice all 3 times. I'm like, why is it that other people can stay the same to the whole series, but my boy Raph gets recasted in all 3 of them?
Yeah,
and the third one is over here like, hey, yo. I'm like, oh, no. What is this guy in the third one doing? Hey, yo, you need to start working on your anger issues. I'm like, oh, this is horrible, man. Horrible. They make, oh, no.
Stop doing a Stallone impression. And if you're going to do that, get Stallone.
Oh, man.
Dude, Stallone, that's Raphael.
I think it would work. I think it'd be funny, though. I mean, how they got Johnny Knoxville. They got Knoxville to voice Leonardo. I was like, are you kidding me?
Wait, which one is that?
The Michael Bay one. I think Knoxville plays Leonardo.
Oh, fuck me. God damn it. What?
It's pretty bad. I'm like, why the fuck did y'all get Knoxville? I love Johnny Knoxville, but what the fuck?
One thing I will say about these older movies, which I don't know if they would have been able to do it, it would have been interesting to see in like practical, was Krang, man. We were missing Krang. Like
the plan was for the second one to have a character who had a creature that was similar to Crane, but it wasn't the character. It was like a prototype Crane. And so it was really weird. They scrapped it because of budget. So they didn't end up. That's why that scientist in the second movie, he was supposed to be the guy who Crane was made from or
Oh,
something
I
like
thought
that.
that was supposed to be Baxter Stockman because I thought even his name in it. Because Baxter Stockman's a character from a cartoon in the comics where he's turned into a fly man and he builds all like the turtle
He
traps and
could have
stuff like
been.
that.
I just remember them saying there was supposed to be a prototype Krang in this movie or something like that. It's
If
really
they
weird.
combine Baxter Stockman and Krang, I'd be, oh no, don't do that. No,
That'd be kind of
because the one
questionable.
thing about the Michael Bay movie, the part two, is I kind of like the casting of Baxter Stockman. I like that. I thought that was good. I thought that was a good guy to cast. He was fun. They should have used him more, but he was fun.
Yeah.
They ruined Casey Jones, which I
They
don't
had the
know
guy
about.
from Arrow play Casey
Good.
Jones.
And Stephen Amell's a good actor, and I think he could have done it. But the problem is, they casted him as a fucking cop, and they tried to make him like, I don't know. It's just they're like, Casey Jones is not a cop. He's just a vigilante dude, and I don't know. They just fucking yeah. Yeah. Oh God.
I didn't see the second one. I'm kind of glad I didn't. After the first one, I was like, I'm good.
I like Seamus is I think he's Bebop or no, he's Rocksteady. I like Seamus as Rocksteady. That was decent casting,
Hmm.
and Bebop was goodly cast as well. There's not. Those turtle movies are frustrating because I feel like there's some good potential there, but then they squander it because it's Michael Bay. Because Michael
Yeah.
Bay just can't. He can't stop. He's like, oh, I need to have Megan Fox dress up as an attractive schoolgirl in one scene, and she's undercover, and it's like, no, no, that's
Oh
not,
my
no,
god.
please, please, no.
Yeah. Yeah. The more we bring that fucking remake up, the more I'm just like, God damn, that movie was fucking
But
bad.
dude, that makes Free look like a masterpiece. That makes Free,
Exactly, man.
and two, like people can shit on these movies all they want, but I'm like, dude, I don't know. I respect people's opinions, but I will take any of the three. I will take Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, TMNT, over any of that. I'll take the 90's show. I'll take the 90's live action show. I'll take any version of the Turtles over those Michael Bay versions.
Hmm.
Yeah, pretty much almost everyone I've seen, every version, I would take over that.
Yeah, me too, man. To get into it though, I guess we could talk about part 3.
Yeah.
Here it is, guys. Number 3, Teenage Mutant
Oh,
Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time.
my bad. Can I bring up one thing about two real quick? I just remembered. Fuck me.
Yeah, sure.
I do like the aspect that the turtles can become human again, and Donatello discovers it after it ooze. I thought that was really cool.
And what?
In part two, right?
Oh, I've never seen. I didn't know that was in that movie.
No, in Secret of the Ooze.
I don't remember that part either.
Wait, I thought that was a scene where Donatello's like, "Oh, we could become human again." Or am I confusing movie? Am I
I don't
confusing the
know.
Michael Bay? Dude, I think I'm confusing the Michael Bay. Oh God, no,
Don't do that, man.
no,
Don't give him that credit now.
oh no! I'm thinking of the Michael Bay one.
You're too kind, Trenchy. You're too kind.
Yeah, I fucked up, man. I fucked up. I confused the two. I'm sorry, Ninja Turtles 2. Okay, I think it was the Michael Bay one. Shit, my bad. That's a good part of it, but okay, moving on. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I just didn't know they did that in that movie. But part 3, man, Turtles in Time. Technically the first one I ever seen, and even as a kid, I thought it was kind of lame. I do want to say this. It's not a bad movie. I don't think it's a bad movie. I think it's okay. I think it's decent. It's fun. It's passable. But we got to get into this one. First of all, you didn't have the suits from the first two. They were redesigned. They do look a bit more like slimmer. So I did notice that they're not as like hulky or not really hulky, but they didn't look like the suits weren't giant on them. They did look a bit more skinnier in the suits. The suits were a bit more agile. They're over here doing, roundhouse kicks and jumping and flipping and cartwheeling, and they're able to really move around in these suits. I also don't mind the fact that they can move their facial features to, like, sometimes they'll look sad, they'll look they'll look like surprised. There's a bit more to them moving their face around in this movie. But the suits overall are pretty awful. They've got like spots all over the suits. They look like they look diseased. And I'm like, yeah, they look like they got some kind of sickness. There's just these little spots all over the suit. They look pretty bad. Splinter is fucking awful in this movie. He's falling apart as we're fucking watching him talk. I'm feeling like his head about to fall off his shoulders. He's his puppet. The voice actor didn't come back. They got some other generic voice actor. They got freaking Corey Feldman to come back as Donatello. They got this random guy to play Raphael's voice. He's terrible. None of the jokes are very funny. They're all pretty cringe. There's a couple here and there that maybe could be. There's like a joke where the guys are in the future and they're playing this arcade game, and Casey Jones is like trying to get them off the arcade game, and they're like, no, we're gonna keep playing. That was pretty funny. But there's a couple things I don't mind about Part 3's humor, but most of it is just really cringe and awful. The idea, I think the biggest thing to me is the idea. I'm not a fan of the time travel aspect where they're going back to ancient Japan. I think it really doesn't fit. It doesn't need to be there. It doesn't. Everything they set up in the second movie, they don't follow up on in the third one. And so this one was very rushed, came out a year later, and was really the beginning of the downfall for the Turtles, because at 1993, the Turtles weren't the end thing anymore. It moved on. There's other things that came around that people were watching, and the Turtles were kind of falling to the wayside. And so this movie didn't make that much money. It wasn't as successful as the first two. Critically, it bombed. So this is where, unfortunately, the Turtles movies ended until 2007, which is a shame, because I feel like there was more they could have done with this series. There's a lot more villains they could have had. They bring back Casey Jones in this movie, and they do like absolutely nothing with him. I'm just like, yay, thank you for taking him out of Part 2. You bring him back in this movie. He literally walks in, and they're like, hey, you, watch over these guys when we go back in time. And Casey's like, okay. And I'm like, what is this?
And they're just sitting around. I think they tell some jokes. Splinter's like, I made a funny.
Splinter is... There is a moment in this movie where Splinter is wearing a lampshade over his head. He's like, remember, like that Elvis movie. I'm like, oh, no.
Splinter looks bad. Why does Splinter look like slightly obese in this movie?
He looks like, horrible.
Is Splinter like eating pizza? Like, what the hell? I mean, I know he did before, but like, what?
It looks like his head would fall off. He must lose his head. His head would be like talking, just fall off on the ground, and then they come in, they're like, okay, here you go. Just put it back on.
The most like memorable parts of this movie is Splinter being awful. And I remember there was like that bad guy general, and I just remember his face. Like when they go back in time, he looked really cool. I remember him being, and I like the feudal Japan stuff. I like doesn't one of the turtles connect with this woman, or
I think it's Michelangelo. He kind of flirts this chick there in the village for a little bit.
Yeah, I like that. I thought that was nice, and
he's like, what's your sign?
Yeah,
he tells it to the chick. Raphael is talking to this kid. What is his name? Yoshi. He's talking to this kid Yoshi, and he's like, you got anger issues. You got to learn how to control the anger issues. Some decent moments like that.
Yeah.
There is some good stuff. There's decent scenes where they're helping the village work together. They could go back in time and go back to where they were before, but they got to do the right thing and help them out. I like a lot of the there. This movie is the one movie in the trilogy where the turtles are out. They don't need help. They're doing what they got to do. First one, the whole arc of that movie was kind of ruined because the whole arc is we're better together. And they go against Splinter or against Shredder, they lose, and Splinter has to come in and save them. The second one, they work together, and I guess they beat Tokar Razor, kinda, and they don't really beat Shredder. Then this one, they finally get a chance to beat people and do their own thing and work together, and they still have backup and help, but this one, they really are getting things done, and it feels like this is really the movie where there is no Shredder, there is no Casey Jones, there is no Kato, there is none of that. You have a little bit of April O'Neil, but this is really their film. This is where they get to finally work together, and it's just them. They don't have help. So that's pretty cool. I don't mind the ending because the ending was pretty deep for a kid's movie where Michelangelo and Raphael, they're like, I don't want to go back. They hate us in New York. Why do I want to go back to live in the sewers? I could stay here and be a hero. And Leo and Donatello are like, no, we got to go back. And April knows, like, I'm not staying here. So thought that was a good moment. It wasn't typical because typical, they're all like, yeah, we're going back. Whereas Michelangelo's like, no, I want to stay here. Like, it's better here. And it's even more surprising that it's coming from Michelangelo. So that's a very good moment.
Yeah, like I like when movies do that where they take the harder route. It's like, okay, do we leave everything we know for comfort, or do we sacrifice that comfort because it's the right thing to do because it's our home and we need to protect it? I like movies like that. I like when movies lay out that choice.
Yeah, and they figure out if they stay, it'll mess with the timeline really bad. And so they wouldn't just be messing up the timeline, but they'd also be messing up the war between the two armies or whatever it is in the movie, like the war that's going on. It would mess that up. So I don't know. It was a very deep ending for the movie, and I was like, why is this movie having this deep of an ending? This has no right to have this deep of an ending, but it does, and it's pretty effective. I think some of the comedy works, some of it doesn't. I think most of it doesn't. The soundtrack is pretty decent, but it's not as good as the other ones. Some of the action scenes are very well done. They got some good action, some good fight scenes. I think it's a decent movie. I think the thing about part 3 is that it didn't really do anything new. It didn't do anything exciting. Yeah. It didn't push the bar. So
here's the thing about it, because like, the turtles time travel back to feudal Japan. That should be really fucking dope. That should be really cool. And it's like, there are some cool scenes. I like some of the scenes where they're on the horse and they're fighting. Like, I think the village is getting raided and they're fighting some of the bad guys on the horse. And they're like, there's a lot of chaos going on. I really remember liking those. But then it's just like, we have to go back to, I think it's like, fucking Casey Jones and Splinter, and I think, isn't Kato back, or is it a new kid? There's a kid there, and there's a couple other. Yeah, and they're all just hanging out in a circle. I don't think they're even trying to help the turtles or monitoring them, if I remember. They're just
hanging out. They're just like
chilling.
Hanging out and chilling, and Splinter is trying to talk to this new character and be like, no, you must learn patience and stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why is this guy listening to Splinter? He has no reason to listen to Splinter. This guy is a hell bent on revenge. And I swear, the whole fucking movie, all he does is hold the scepter and look at it real intense. He's just like, do I want to go back in time? Do I want to stay here? I'm listening to you. The whole fucking movie is just look at the scepter. Like, do I? That's the whole fucking movie. I'm like, there's no reason for him not to do that.
That could be handled a lot better. It's just
what's up, movie fan?
Like, hey, what's up? it just like it could be handled a lot better. Cause like sometimes like what you were saying about what's his name, Danny in the first one, that didn't bog down the movie for me. That actually they incorporated in this well, and they did a good job with that for me at least. It didn't bother me.
Mhm.
But this bothers me because it's like we're gonna stop the movie to have like lessons about like not wanting revenge, and Splinter also why Splinter is gonna put a lampshade on his head. And I get it, Splinter can be silly sometimes. That's a great thing about his characters. He can lighten up a little bit. But it's just weird having him give out these like wisdom stuff, and then like the next scene he's like, I made a funny and I got a lampshade on my head. It's like, guys, what are you doing? Like
Yeah.
make Splinter funny, but like don't there are other ways. There's ways to make him silly, but to ground it, you know? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
man.
They
They
should have. And then my man
they
Casey
made him trying to say jokes and one-liners, and it's just like, what the fuck are you doing?
like what
man?
could have happened is maybe the turtles were stuck fighting one bad guy, and then another bad guy goes back into the past somehow, and then you could have had Casey and the dude and Splinter. Well, maybe not Splinter. His head might fall off, like you said. His animatronic probably wasn't ready for that shit. But
They
like
didn't
you know,
oil it up enough, man. He's over here like, it's
like
funny. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
if they made the animatronic better Splinter, but like you know, maybe have Casey Jones.
Why don't you just go and steal the costume from the other movie? Just steal it. Just go in there and take that. That looks better. Why did they own it? Go find it and use it. That looks way better.
Yeah.
Why would you build this awful thing that is barely moving, real like rigid and just like that was funny. I'm like, and then like the turtle costumes, they don't even bother to hide the little neck seam. You can see they're wearing a fucking costume, and the foam, they zoom in close to like the foreheads and like the faces. It's foam. You can tell it's foam. They gave them buck teeth.
Like nobody wants to see obese fucking off-color Splinter fighting, man. Like nobody wants to see that shit. But if they
that's
got
what's
the
crazy
right
is there's so much good stuff. There is decent things. I like the villains.
Yeah,
there's some good action scenes. I like the way they made it look like ancient Japan, and it was shot in America, so they made it look like ancient Japan. They did a good job with that.
No, I really enjoy it. I do like this movie. I was thinking like
there's
what
problems.
They should have done is some of the bad guys should have went back into the future, and then the turtles had to fight their thing in the past. And Casey and the Revenge Dude and Splinter, if they got the right suit, have to fight off the people in the present, and it's the guy the dude wants to get revenge on. So these scenes where Splinter's telling him about revenge, like he has a moment to get it, and he doesn't do it. Basic shit, I know, but you know, I know this is basic storytelling 101, but usually when you have a character,
it works.
When you have a character seeking revenge, and the whole lesson is them not to get it, does he ever confront the bad guy he wants to get revenge on? Because that's
he just goes back and he hugs the girl, and all of a sudden he's just not wanting revenge anymore.
Because like, there's always. It's basic writing.
There's a lot of writing problems.
It might be lazy writing, but at least it's like it makes more sense than what they did. Like have him confront the bad guy. You know, the bad guy tries to piss him off or whatever. He has a moment where he's about to, but he remembers Splinter words and he puts down the weapon and he grants him mercy. And the bad guy's like, "Why are you doing this?" And he's like, you know, this is the better path for whatever or something. So it's not great writing, but it's better than what they did. It's like basic bullshit, but basic bullshit is better than what they did.
Yeah, because they didn't even try. It was just like, and then they have, which I don't mind the idea of having Donatello be more of the one-liner guy of the movie, not Michelangelo, not Raphael, but let's have Donatello. I'm like, all right, different, but it's Corey Feldman, and so it's like, whoa, I'm over here, I'm turtle down. Somebody help me out, guys! And then like,
why isn't Donatello like making like kind of futuristic weapons out of the feudal weapons. Like
Because
he could have.
they don't do him right.
Dude,
He's just another
Donatello could
Michelangelo.
have sat there and pulled a MacGyver and like, look at this crazy thing I made. And
Yeah,
like,
he's over here like saying these really bad one-liners. He's just too busy saying like, "Whoa, April, showing a little bit of leg, huh? Swing." I'm like, "Oh my god, I did not need to hear that. What the
Michael
fuck?"
Bay, how'd you get in the past and get involved in this movie, Michael Bay? Get the fuck out of here!
Yeah, he literally
Predicting the
says
future.
he's like swing. I'm like, "Oh no, what's going
Be
on?"
gone, Michael Bay.
And he's like, "I think I swallowed a frog. I hope it wasn't an ancestor." And I'm like, "Just please, for the love of God,
Go
stop
make
it!
Bad Boys
Stop
4.
it!"
At least you won't be bothering anybody's childhood.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely a bad decision because it's like I wouldn't mind if they made Donatello one of the leads, but it's Corey Feldman. He's really annoying. It's literally he sounds like this through the whole film, and hey
Yeah,
guys,
that's
like,
Feldman,
oh.
man. And the thing is, Feldman's a big part of my childhood. I grew up with a lot of his films. I like a lot of his films, but fuck him as a person. And you know, just fuck him in general.
Yeah, I don't
fuck
have
Corey
respect
Feldman.
for him as a person. I like him as an actor, but as a person, he's in a lot of wrong. You know.
Yeah, I don't like. I just don't. I do not respect. And the thing is like you know, I'm a big like my favorite movie of all time has Feldman in it. My second favorite movie of all time has Feldman in it. Like he's a big part, you know. I love The Burbs. I love a lot of his movies, and it is like I separate the art from the artist, but it's like fuck you, dude. Like you're gonna go over and just the shit you're doing now, man. You're a little shit white, man. Like you need to fuck off, man.
Yeah, he's pretty much bad news right now.
You could have been great. You could have been great, and you squandered it. And I'm sorry if bad things happen to you. That's horrible. But that does not excuse you to do bad things either, Mr. Feldman. I know you're not going to see this, but like, this is my little call out to you.
Hey, man, I heard you talking trash about me, man. What's going on, man? It's like, get the fuck out of here. What the fuck? But at least he made that song for us all that, you know, he's graciously made that track. Comeback King. I'm the comeback king.
That I danced to one time like a paraplegic, and nobody will ever see it again because I just lost the time. Thank God.
He's trying to be like Michael Jackson. He dressed up like Michael Jackson and shit. Like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah. Just, Jesus.
But yeah, man, that's part 3. I mean, what are your do you think that part 3 could have been better? What would you do to make it better, improve it? Do you think there could have been a part 4?
There definitely could have been. And here's the thing, 3 could have, what you could have done is you could have added more like ooze stuff in the background, build a mystery of the ooze, and have the final movie, the 4th movie, be the ooze. Because if we're not going to do it here, might as well do one last one. But like, I don't know, like I said, maybe have our characters in the future have more to do. Whatever you did to Splinter, please don't do that.
Don't ever do that again.
Just don't. Just not. Don't do that. But I think like what you said, and I do agree. I always remembered enjoying this movie for what it is. Like it's fun to make fun of. It's definitely one of those movies I'll make fun of it all day. I that's enjoyable. But that doesn't mean I don't like it. Just because I make fun of a movie doesn't mean I don't like it. And I feel like there was potential here.
Yeah. I agree.
And the turtles in feudal Japan, that's an awesome idea. Hell, you could have had the Rabbit Man, Yojimbo, that they cross over with. Like, you could have done so much with that, and I feel like it might have been because of budget constraints and stuff like that, and maybe they didn't believe in the turtles. Maybe this was just a quick buck. But I do feel like somebody had some heart, because there was some good shit put in there. Like, you know, like you said, going back, I like the relationship with the girl. I like Raphael's relationship with the kid. I feel like there's some heart. They're trying to do the heart with Splinter as well, even though it's not translating as well. But I feel like there was some good stuff in here, but
Yeah, I think what
they
it
just
is,
lost
the
it.
people working on the movie were putting a lot of effort in there, but it was the people that were producing it and marketing it, not really marketing, but you know what I mean, like the
Yeah.
studio, everybody behind the financing of it and the producing of it. I feel like they were just trying to get another movie out. Whereas the people
Dude,
making it, I felt were putting a lot of effort in there. You know, there's a lot of good stunts and stuff, a lot of good fight scenes.
the poster art for this shit is great with the purple. I really
Yeah,
like that too.
I like the
Um,
look of them in the samurai outfits. The turtles in the
mhm.
samurai outfits. It's a pretty cool look. It's different.
Yeah, I feel like this movie is just like, yeah, it's easy to make fun of, but I've seen worse. I've seen
Me
movies
too.
that don't, because this movie still feels like a Ninja Turtles movie. A Michael Bay movie, it seems
They
like you're
really
watching
don't.
fucking Aliens. Like there's hints of
Yeah.
it. There's hints of it somewhere. Like I feel like, oh, I do feel like, especially in the second one,
What's up,
they
Hayden?
tried to make up for that. But like, yeah, they definitely. I do feel like this one still had the heart of what Ninja Turtles is, and even though it fails in a lot of spots, it still I can still watch it. I think I would go back and watch it and still find enjoyment. You know, it's
Yeah.
not it's not unredeemable. But a lot of the movies people think unredeemable. People shit on the fucking 2007 one. I really liked that movie. I thought
I
that was
like that
a
one
cool
too.
movie.
TMNT, I
Yeah,
like that one. It's pretty good.
yeah. I love that there's monsters in it. I like how Raphael becomes like a fucking Batman type character. Like he's got this like, he's like a vigilante, and Leonardo's in the jungle with like fucking, you know, like what are they called? Fucking like poachers or whatever, and he's like fighting them and being like a vigilante in the jungle.
Hmm.
Michelangelo works in a party bus. I believe Michelangelo does kids' birthdays parties, which I don't know why that's a trope. For like superheroes to do that, like the Ghostbusters did the same shit. Like
Yeah.
just like I don't know why it's a trope for them to work. I guess that would be a good job for them. They fit right in, but
Oh,
um,
thank you, Hayden. I appreciate that, man. Thank
yeah,
you.
oh, nice, man. Yeah, I like. My bad. I don't mean to go on a tangent, but I
No,
like
no,
that
you're good,
movie.
man.
I like
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, the one they made after this one is pretty good as well. There's not really the only ones I don't like is the Michael Bay ones. All the other stuff I've pretty much liked. But yeah, I mean, this trilogy is very fun, very entertaining. It was cool going back and watching them again. They're very, very short films. Even the third
Mhm,
one is like an hour and a half. So
mhm.
they're all real short. They're very entertaining. They're fun. They're some of my favorites, man. I've been watching them ever since I was a kid, and they're still fun to this day to watch. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much for being a part of this, Trench. I really appreciate you coming on here and talking about some TMNT with me, man. I appreciate that.
Oh, thanks for having me. Sorry, I'm a bit rusty, and sorry, like my
No,
internet
you
kept
did
going out.
great, man. There
I'm
wasn't one
doing
part where you were like, or anything like that. You did great, man.
well. My internet keeps going out. I know my internet went out a few times, and I had to do laundry. And I think it was funny when we started the stream. I was like, okay, I got nothing to do, and you're like, let's start the stream. I'm like, yeah, let's go. And right when you go to start the stream, my mom's like, hey, can you do something for me? And I'm like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
like,
sure.
yeah,
He's like
I
doing
think,
laundry. Like, yeah, Nay, I agree. Great, yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's why I'm like, yeah, I'm sitting there throwing in the laundry and shit. That's why my internet kept going out because it's like bad internet back there. But
Oh
it was
no,
just
you're
funny.
fine,
I
man.
think you can hear her in the beginning of the stream.
Maybe, yeah, possibly. To go back and listen. It was cameo. She made a cameo for the stream. But yeah, anyways, man, thank you so much for being here. It was fun having you. Yeah, it was fun talking about some Ninja Turtles, man.
Yeah,
Thank you
man.
so much for. Thank you so much to everybody in the chat for being a part of this. We had Cara stop by, Colton,
Oh
Hayden,
yeah,
Ian. We
Sasha.
had my friend Movie Fan 23, which I believe is my friend Keen. So thank you for stopping by, Keen. Appreciate it. But anyways, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. And the Explorer of Horror is out. See you guys later.
Stay frosty. Cowabunga, dudes!
Cowabunga!